Hello YNABers, my name is Jesse Meekum from YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget. You do, and your sister-in-law does, and it's time you talk to her about it. I'm just kidding, but we all do, right? This is another Whiteboard Wednesday where we wax a little philosophical, usually. Today I want to talk about something that was missed a little bit in the launch of the new software, the new version of YNAB. We changed the rules. Not really. We renamed them. And we refocused on being principle-based instead of being focused around the mechanic. So let me walk you through that a little bit. Have you noticed that all of this is really just rule one? All of it's really just prioritizing? We always want to have everyone be giving every dollar a job. When you sit down to budget to zero. Don't leave budgets unaccounted for, right? Or not budgets, dollars. Don't leave dollars unaccounted for. When you sit down to budget to zero. Answer that question, what does this money need to do before I'm paid again? This is dealing with the now, right? This is rule one. But as you get to rule two, and you're looking ahead to larger, less frequent expenses, we've renamed it. It used to be called Save for a Rainy Day, but those days aren't always rainy. It could be a good thing. And it had the connotation that you're saving, like you should be saving in a savings account, or that my savings are always like an emergency fund. What is this exactly? No, this is embracing your true expenses. The concept of true expenses is what we wanted to get to. And this is a little bit more of a principle now where you're saying we want you to look ahead to larger, less frequent expenses, break them up into monthly amounts. So that when you have that $1,200 that you spent on Christmas, for easy math, not a recommendation or a condemnation, that you would then say, oh, the holiday spending, that's $100 a month. It's a $100 per month bill. And it flows back into rule one, where you're giving every dollar a job. And that means that some of those dollars to make up that every dollar actually get used in a way that's going to be far off into the future. So when you're analyzing, should I spend on this thing now or this thing now, you are doing so under the constraint of knowing that in the future, some of those dollars will be used for something else. And that helps you make good decisions. This interplay here is what keeps people getting ahead. This is why YNABers on average see their checking account balance skyrocket. It's not because they're making tons more money or anything like it. It just means that they're allocating for the future, so when those bills come due, they just pay them. And your expenses, or your cash flow, instead of being like this, total stress, plummeting, instead of just being that up and down roller coaster, we call it normalizing, where you're just kind of even Steven, where Christmas isn't exciting at all, except now it can be. But financially, it's a snoozer, right? That's rule two. It's just priorities again, but it's prioritizing expenses that are further out in the future, and usually larger. Rolling with the punches. That's just adapting. When you set your budget today, and then you find out more information tomorrow, what would make you think, unless you were Sandra Bullock maybe in that movie Premonition that I'm sure you all saw, it was a blockbuster, weird movie, but yeah, unless you can see the future, right, you should be totally okay with getting more information the next day or 2 weeks later and realizing, oh yeah, had I known, how do you say this? If I knew then what I know now, I would have budgeted differently. That's a rule. We had to make it a rule just to have you all relax and change your budget without feeling like major guilt for some reason. So it's a rule. The principle is adapt. Adapt when new information comes in, or adapt because your priorities have changed. But again, rule three is just a priority. It's just being able to say, well, not a priority, it's about your priorities. And it's just saying, hey, this is all about priorities, and when they change them, right? That's the third rule. Just a principle, adapt. Finally, the fourth one, this has gotten a lot of action, right? Instead of us focusing the fourth rule around a mechanic, around being tied to a paycheck, and when do I get paid? I get paid during the summer, and then I work for 9 months as a student, or I get paid every time I sell a house. I don't have a paycheck. I'm a business owner. I take draws. I take them whenever I need them, right? I get a steady paycheck. I get paid every 2 weeks. I get paid twice a month. I get paid once a month, but my wife gets paid, right? It gets confusing. So we want to be able to have it be focused on the principle of the idea and have you apply the principle to your unique situation. And this is where we decided to go with, instead of saying, learn to live on last month's income. What if you didn't have any income last month, right? Or you're in some strange situation. There's lots of nuance there around implementation. We went with age your money, right? Spend money as a principle that is older. So it should be older than a day, older than 10 days. Try and spend money that is at least 30 days old, and try and make sure that your age of money doesn't dip below the 30 days, right? So one thing that's interesting here is that as you follow Rule 2, you're saving money, saving money, saving money. As you save money, your age of money naturally goes up because you're spending money that's progressively older, right? So it's climbing, and you feel really good, and then you go on vacation, and you feel really great about the vacation, but you don't feel great about the fact that your age of money just dipped down because you're now dipping into a newer bucket of money. And you've kind of reached in for that vacation and taken that, and it was part of your plan, and you feel really good about it, and your age of money drops. And you think, well, wait a minute, that's something good. Well, it is something good. Having your age of money drop doesn't mean anything bad happened. It just means that it dropped. What you would be interested to see is, what is the low point of your age of money? And as we look at reporting and things in the future, it could get really fun. But the idea would be that your age of money never dips below 30 days. Even when you pay a whole load of your true expenses all at once, age of money declines, because it should, but then it doesn't ever dip below that magic 30-day line. Now, is 30 days magical? You'll notice that we didn't prescribe it there either. For some people that are on very varied incomes, 30 days is not that great. If I were a realtor, especially if I was just starting out and didn't have like a big client list or something, if my income was super volatile, like it's been in the past, being an entrepreneur, I wouldn't be comfortable with just a 30-day scenario. I might actually say, 60 days is more my jam, or I can't believe I said jam. Anyway, I never say that, never, but I did for posterity. So we did not prescribe 30 days. We didn't prescribe 60, we didn't prescribe 90. We are saying, hey, we know through a decade of experience that something less than 30 days and you're still kind of stressed. So try and keep it above 30, but how far should it go? How far do you want it to go? What's your situation? Age your money. Spend money that is progressively older. And then that's the principle. You've implemented it to your spec, and it's working well for you. It's not a mechanic. It's not married to a nuance. It's just a principle. And as you follow these three principles, you'll notice that they're all just about priorities. You're prioritizing the fact that you don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck, right? You're prioritizing the fact that you want to be spending money that's at least 30 days old. Your priorities change, and our rule says, go for it. You realize you have some larger expenses that need to be saved for, and that informs your priorities. The whole thing is just about what you want and how that fits into managing the money around it. It's not about mechanics, it's about the principles and making sure that you understand those at a deep, deep level. You follow these principles, and financially, you will be doing phenomenal. I will see you guys next week.